Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football, presented by PJ's Coffee, coming to you from the Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center podcast studio up here on Veterans Memorial Boulevard, right next door to Matt Bauer's Ford dealership. Check him out at one of his many dealerships. They'll get you the best prices on your next vehicle. Got a great show for you guys today. Going to work on breaking down this upcoming game against the Bucks. And just kind of see what they can do to maybe try to be competitive and how they can overcome some of these injury situations. We're going to talk about all of that and more on today's show. If you want to celebrate your fandom beyond the field, Keesler Federal is proud to be the official credit union sponsor of the New Orleans Saints. They're a not-for-profit organization, meaning their members always come first. You can enjoy lower fees, better rates, and everything else Saints fans need to help you get one step closer to living your dreams. Keesler Federal, the official credit union sponsor of the New Orleans Saints. All right, first topic today, presented by Aaron Rose. What Saints do you feel like are the best bets to get traded, just kind of on that axis of value and expendability?
I got two on my list that I've figured have the best chances, because some of the guys that I think might be the top trade assets, and we could talk about that in a minute, you know, you could get a comp pick, so the price has to be higher, or they're a little too old, so you might get not enough. But the two guys to me that seem right in the honey hole are defensive end Carl Granderson and linebacker Pete Werner. They're still in their primes. They're under contract with guaranteed money left, so the Saints are shedding some contract and salary off the books if they trade them. There's no comp picks coming for them anytime soon. With Granderson, he turns 29 in December, so I think he would be the perfect one to trade, because I think he's at his max value right now. I think his future value will kind of decline, and this is a team that needs guys who are going to be really good 2-3 years from now. So he'd be my top choice. From an age standpoint, he's due $12.75 million each of the next 2 years. About half of that is guaranteed next year. But Pete Werner, obviously, he's 26. He could be a part of whatever the future is, but they've got such a natural replacement already taking snaps away from him in Danny Stutzman. So those are my top two guys. They're not necessarily the top names we're hearing about, you know, Olave, Kamara, big names. Those are the two guys who make the most sense to me.
I would absolutely trade Pete Werner. You got Stutzman behind him. I would be hesitant to trade Granderson because you create a just you're cutting an artery at that position then, and you have absolutely nothing. Yes. Cam probably moves on after the season. Then you just got Chase Young. Like you almost are like absolutely forced to draft then. And I'd like them to not have to do that.
Sure.
But in terms of like trade and return, yeah, I'm with you on that. I think he's probably one of their most valuable players. I like the Stutzman one because they got someone behind him. Both of my top two guys I would go Rashid Shaheed, and value probably isn't there, but expendability is. And then I think there's value in just getting him out of the room because you have Devon Vele behind him. You would have to play him. Cooks would be my other one of those two guys. They make the most sense to me. Shaheed's probably on his way out of here. Anyhow, you're in week 7 of a contract year.
Yep.
You're not gonna franchise him. I don't think that would be kind of wild. So that would make sense to move him on, and then just getting Cooks out of there to create that path would make a lot of sense to me. And it feels like a position where there's expendability. They're built towards the future. They want to see what Jalen Polk can do next year. So like spots where I feel like you can take a guy off and it doesn't hurt you.
Total sense.
I like it. Alontae Taylor, I wouldn't necessarily want to trade, but if there isn't a contract in sight, because he is going to be a pending free agent, and he probably, if he is moving on, it would make sense to maybe get ahead of that and get whatever the comp pick value is back a year early, because you have to wait a whole year. So if you traded him now, you could get your comp pick in this draft. If he left and there was a comp pick, it would be in the 27 draft. So that one would make sense to me too. But I just don't, I like the one thing I don't want to see him do is just like trade everybody, because you have to fill all the holes that you create. I mean, so like create one, but like don't create 10. So yeah, I mean, I could see it either way.
Look, it's possible none of these guys get traded. I think the Saints should be sellers, but every one of these comes with a little bit of an asterisk. That's why I had Granderson, Werner on top. But yeah, the very next two names that I had on my list were Rashid Shaheed and Alontae Taylor, and they make a lot of sense because they're actually free agents next year. But you bring up the comp pick formula. So if there's a chance you're going to just get a 4th round comp pick for one of those guys by not trading them. That means your price has to be higher. You got to be like, well, you better give us a 3rd or at least a 4th now. And teams aren't necessarily paying top dollar at the trade deadline. So you're not trading a guy for a 5th if you might get a 4th comp pick for him. They just become harder to move from that standpoint. But otherwise, those guys would both make sense. And then, then my next category was the Brandon Cooks, the Isaac Yadam, the Nathan Shepard, sort of the veteran expendables. But what are we talking about? Like a 7th in 2 years for those guys? Like, I just don't know what you're getting. So I don't know if it's worth it to trade from that standpoint. And then, we've talked about Olave a lot on here, but out of all these guys, I actually think, the Saints are still wondering if Olave is going to be part of their future. You're not going to get top value for him. He is under contract next year. You might get more value for him down the road. You might want to keep him down the road. We've talked about Alvin, DeMario, Cam. I don't think teams are asking for them. And then the guys they just signed to deals, Chase Young, Justin Reed, Jawan Johnson. I put Cesar Ruiz in that group. I don't know that you're getting top value for them where they're at in their careers right now. So I don't see obvious guys, like maybe 1 or 2 of those guys that I just listed gets moves, but I don't see wholesale.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to trade off the offensive line because I don't want them to have to keep building there. And now I think you kind of have the McCoy situation as well. And then like Trevor Penning's probably somebody you got to replace too. Like, so then if you were to, I know everybody has their feelings about different guys on their Caesar in particular. If you were to trade it, then you kind of have your whole entire middle of the offensive line again. Then you get into the draft and everyone's bitching because they take a guard in the 2nd round instead of a tight end or a wide receiver. And it's like, well, they had to because they traded them. I don't want them to create those types of situations where it's like, you have to take this guy because now there's nothing there and it's just a complete mess. And like, that is where I don't want them to exist. But the trade deadline is November 4th. That's less than, I think, 2 weeks away.
Let me flip the question on you. All these guys we just discussed, let's say you're who's this year's Commanders, that this year's contender that needs a piece or two. Let's call it the Pittsburgh Steelers because they keep coming up. Knowing what they would probably cost, who do you want most off this Saints roster?
Shahid's probably the best bang for the buck. I don't think it takes a ton. I think you could probably get him for like a 4th or something like that. I think that's probably what he would come back in the comp pick formula. And he's somebody that gives you an elite trait, something that you can feature without having to invest a ton into it. You got to give him a contract too, so that's part of the equation. But he's a young guy that you probably want on your team. But yeah, I think you can give up a 4th, and if you have a big arm quarterback, that's a way to kind of take all that, take the top off. So that would probably be the guy that I would be most interested in, and he's probably the one that's going to the most likely. Obviously, Chris is the guy that I would want, but he costs a ton.
But I feel like it has to be at least a 2nd, and I don't even know if the Saints would do that, but you're not getting him for anything less than that.
No, you want the guy that you give the 4th to, and everyone's like, oh, it's just a 4th.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, oh, yeah, I'd do that again in a second. There's no 2 guys sitting up in their, studio, like, what are they doing with this 4th round
pick?
You
think a team offers a 4th for Granderson, and you think the Saints would say no to that?
Oh, I wouldn't take a 4th for Granderson.
It would have to be
like a path rusher that could potentially give me 7, 8, 9. No way I'm taking a 4th. For him. Yeah, no way.
Maybe a 4th for Warner, though?
Like, if you drafted, like, the equivalent of that, like, say you drafted a pass rusher in the 2nd and he's giving you 80 a year for the life of that contract, you're like, that's a solid. Yep. Like, I don't know that you're saying that.
I would want more than a 4th if I'm the Saints.
I don't know that you're putting that on like your Canton resume. Got drafted eight sack guy in the 2nd round, but that feels like a win. A 4th, like if you got that in the 4th round, holy crap!
Would you trade a 4th for Alante if you're a contending team right now?
Yeah, I would.
For 1 year rental of Alante.
Yeah, I would, and I think he's somebody that like would really, really shine on a team.
He'd bring juice.
Like a CJ Gardner-Johnson. I feel like if you put him on a bad defense, some of the freelancing and the risk taking put you in these situations. But like if you put him on a good defense, CJ or an Alante type, and they kind of play that boomer bust style a little bit, and you make a mistake, there's people around to kind of clean it up. Like, so I feel like it's a good asset on the right team. Alante's usage this year, I feel like has been a little bit disappointing too. Like we kind of viewed him as being the X factor of the defense. They're going to feature him in all these spots, and it just feels like they're kind of playing like the safest brand of football on defense right now. And like, I don't know that we've seen like the full extent of that. But yeah, I would do that in a second. As a
he's not get every time we've talked about the big play that's hurt the Saints, it's never been him. He's given up little ones here and there, like those 8-yard passes. He's given up a few of those 3rd and longs or whatever, but he's playing pretty clean football. He's just not making the splash plays. And then my answer, if I'm another team, I do try to. I am willing. This just doesn't happen very often in the NFL. I know Alvin said he doesn't want to be traded. I don't know if DeMario has said the same thing, but man, I would. If I thought this was my year, I would want to add one of those guys into my building so bad for a mid-round pick. I'm surprised that doesn't happen more in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, moving on to the next. The 49ers should want one of these guys too. They got the injury. Yeah, I mean, they should. Now, continuing this conversation presented by Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, real life true story. They called me yesterday. They said, "Hey, we got a home insurance policy and it's going to save you $3,000." I'm like, "Yeah, do it." That's what they do. So call them up, the Earhart Agency. They'll save you money. They actively
people do that for regular people, or that just happens to you? I feel like that happens to you. No,
that's what they do, man. Every time your policy's up, they shop it and they get you money. Just a real life story. Man.
Nick's logo is the Monopoly man. Stuff just happens. That just happens.
Well, I mean, if you get with them, they'll make it just happen for you. But yeah, if you were a contending team, you just kind of brought it up right there. You want to get one of these guys. You want to look for them. The flip side of that is, and I get to ask this question a lot, is there any scenario where you feel like the Saints should look to add players to their team right now if the right value's out there? Is there any scenario where you're like, man, that was a good decision?
I mean, look, I didn't kill the Devon Vele trade on its face. I feel like I have egg on my face now for not killing it at the time because he's been used so little this year. But because he was a second-year player with 3 years left on his contract, and then obviously they made the Jalen Polk trade right after that. So, I mean, if that exists at the midseason deadline, but I don't think that exists at the midseason deadline that often, that guys are like, yeah, I don't think sellers are usually trading off young parts with 3 years left on their deal. But I certainly am not trading for any 1-year rentals anywhere. Did I see a real report? I think I saw it aggregated, like the Russell Wilson thing. No way. I mean, I guess having a veteran quarterback, if he's basically coming in here to coach Rattler and Shuck, but God, no, not if he's ever going to take a snap away from one of those guys.
I don't know what the deal is with Russell Wilson. He seems like a nice guy. Every time he talks, it seems like he's a nice guy. I don't know if it's like Richard Sherman and all this Seattle, but it seems like everybody hates that dude. I don't know that he's the guy you want to bring in to be like the harmless mentor, quarterback, whisperer, whatever. And that might be completely unfair. I'm saying it from a distance, but that's not a guy that I would want around here at all. I don't see one either. It's a question I get asked all the time. Sure, if the right opportunity is there and you can go get George Pickens for, a 3rd round pick or something, sure, go do it. But that's usually not the case. I don't know why that player would be like, yeah, I want to be traded there. And again, things just happen. Sometimes people just make a deal, but that's usually part of it. There's usually some type of hey, are you open to us acquiring this player? There's usually word to the guy, in some form or fashion. I don't know why that guy would want to come here. So I don't necessarily see it right now in the cards for them at all. But I'm not closed off to any avenue of building your team. But ideally speaking, if you're asking me, I would rather they be drafting players that are 22, 23.
Yeah, for sure.
At worst, 24 years old and putting them into the mix. All right, we're going to hit a quick break and we'll be right back. Ochsner MD Anderson Cancer Center is proud to team up with the NFL and the New Orleans Saints' crucial catch mission to tackle cancer and save lives. Together, they're helping more people access the tools needed to detect cancer early and promoting prevention and early detection. Learn more at ochsner.org/endcancer.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number 1. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number 1 grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
I used a home equity loan from Keystone Federal to fix up the garage. Because living your dream means living your way.
and the kids take the field.
Not even game day.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. I don't play favorites with our sponsors on the show, but one of my favorites for sure is RV Masters. You guys have been watching our show lately and you've seen our awesome new van. That thing is decked out. And the best part about it is I took it up to RV Masters and I was like, this is what I want to do, but I had no idea how I wanted to do it or how to get it done. And they took care of it from start to finish, brought me out for updates, were giving me new ideas, and they made it exceed my wildest dreams. And they will do the same thing for you. RV Masters offers full service RV, motorhome, and travel trailer repair. They have preventative maintenance and service packages for your RVs, your AC, your generators. They specialize in solar and lithium upgrades, satellite TV, and Starlink. They'll take care of you if you get into a collision. Whatever you need, they got you. And I can speak from experience because they definitely had us on our new van. I cannot vouch for anyone more than I vouch for RV Masters. RV-Masters.com. Go check them out.
I believe it, I can see it. If it's in my sights, I achieve it. Ain't no leaving, no defeating. Show up, complete and repeat it. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready?
Get game ready. Play game ready scratch-offs and fast play from the lottery. Win up to $100,000. Enter the second chance drawing for a chance to win up to $1 million.
Yeah, they want me to quit, I can't stop it. I'm out of this world, I'm like a rocket. And you can never be us. We not afraid of the pressure, cause we good in the clutch. Yeah.
Get game ready. Play game ready scratch-offs and fast play from the lottery. Win up to $100,000. Enter the second chance drawing for a chance to win up to $1 million.
Shawbear Insurance, the Earhart Agency, is a longtime partner on this podcast, but the truth is, I was advertising them to my friends and everybody I knew long before they ever jumped on this show. And I'm going to tell you why. Every 6 months, my car insurance policy comes up, and every 6 months, I get a call from somebody from there telling me I need to change it or stay where I'm at. They're shopping my policy constantly to make sure I am getting the best possible deal. That means money in the bank. And those are the type of people you love because, look, we all live here. We all know how it is. The insurance rates are out of control. You need somebody watching your back. And they actually really do it. And I was with them before they ever asked me to be with them. So they are people that you need to be doing business with. And if you are going to look up their insurance, make sure you are looking for the Earhart Agency. Those are our guys. There's a lot of Shawbear insurances. The Earhart Agency is the one you want. I can speak for them. Real life, real support, real good business, real money saved. Call them up today. Shawbear Insurance, the Earhart Agency. Hardhide flavored whiskey, Ponchatoula strawberry, and Chilton County peaches in your favorite bars, stores, and restaurants. Hardhide Chilton County Peach Whiskey is a blend of aged wheat whiskey, light American whiskey, and fresh Chilton County peaches from Alabama's Durbin Family Farms. And Hardhide Strawberry Whiskey tells the story of a small town famous for strawberry farming. A delicious natural strawberry-infused 86-proof whiskey for whiskey lovers. Just look for the red and orange bottles in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. Our next topic is presented by the Louisiana Lottery. Kind of an interesting decision here. I mean, they traded for Fortner, so it makes sense that he's the center here. I did wonder if there was going to possibly be the move of putting Cesar Ruiz there and then maybe going a different direction at guard, whether you're looking at prioritizing development. You could put Simpkins in there. You could put Radens in there if you're trying to have a go there. I didn't think it was like a straightforward decision, but it seems like it was a very straightforward decision for them to go in that direction. I guess also, though, it makes sense. You put a center in there. He's played center. He started at center in the league. You got like a young quarterback.
40 some games or something.
Yeah, you got to have communication up there. People identifying things, making sure you're getting into the right looks. You're making the right adjustments. And look, I think that picture might start getting muddier and muddier for them. New England did a great job of messing with their protection. The Bears did a good job of messing with their protection. I think the Bucks are going to try to come at it. Like, I think teams might start getting more aggressive at it. So veteran guy makes sense. But do you feel like it was the right, straightforward choice?
Yeah, look, there were only two other possibilities for me for a team that has clearly shifted to 3-year plan or 2-year plan or whatever you want. And one is Simpkins. But that would have been a little tough. He hasn't played center for a little while. Now I think he'll
I would have went Ruiz center, Simpkins guard.
I was going to talk about Ruiz in a minute. But like Simpkins had center on his past. If you wanted to take this time to develop him as a center after he's gotten all those snaps at guard, you could have considered that. But yeah, Ruiz is interesting for 2 reasons. Because yeah, you could have moved Simpkins up at guard, gotten him more snaps. And we talked about Eric McCoy's sort of uncertain future with all the injuries. I think Eric McCoy will be back for his last 2 years. So there's no reason to like rebrand Ruiz as a guard or as a center just to move him back to guard next year. But I have long thought that Ruiz's career might be more successful if there was ever an opportunity for him to go back to center. That's where he was so good in college. The brief times we've seen him go back to center, he looks so comfortable when he goes back there. Like, I think this is a unique opportunity to maybe try it out and think about, should Ruiz be our center in the future? But like I said, I understand why they didn't do that for 2 reasons. One, it's just way simpler to just make one change right now. You don't want to mess things up all across the offensive line. That would hurt the quarterbacks. And 2, Eric McCoy will most likely be back for multiple years in the future. So it's not like you have a center opening in the future. But I did think it was an interesting possibility to play around.
Yeah, the second one was the only one. You can't put Simpkins as center. He's lost at guard. Like, if you're going to put him in there, you got to have him in a spot where people can give him help. He can't be the guy that's identifying everything, making calls at the line, going to give help. Like, he played bad at guard. But you could put him in there and just say, hey, look, we're gonna endure this and just go through it and see if he can develop. But no way he could have played. Like,
do you think he'll be taking backup center snaps now, though, and be the guy that would go in the game at center if Fortner got hurt? Or you think?
Yeah, I mean, certainly in a jam. I think if you got down, like if Fortner got hurt, I think
Ruiz would.
I think you would have to. Like, you have to. I mean, like, it's just such a, like, you got a young quarterback, a young line, young tackles. Like, that communication's so important. Like, there's no. I just can't envision him being ready to lead that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I thought there was a chance that you could have evaluated Ruiz there, and like, even then, personally, I would have went to Raidens because I think you got to keep your quarterback safe.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was maybe the way to get the 5 on there. But look, Fortner they got him for this reason. That he was the insurance policy behind him, and it hits, and hopefully it pays off a little bit. All right, going on to our next topic, presented by Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. The Pro Football Hall of Fame put out their list of finalists for the upcoming Hall of Fame class. 2 Saints in there, Drew Brees and Jari Evans, back up for the second time, first time for Drew. Kind of an interesting list of guys, a lot of guys on there. A lot of people, Jason Witten, Larry Fitzgerald, Eddie George, like, a lot of guys are on this list. A lot of people that we all watched for a lot of years. Who's your top guy you're putting in? All right, we both got Brees, so let's just take Brees off the list.
We both got Larry Fitzgerald. That's a no-brainer, right? Isn't he like second in the NFL in history and catches? All right, so let's say those 2 are locks. First of all, I picked my 5, and then I have at least 1, 2, 3, like 4 maybes. What a shame that they only put 3 in last year. They had this new voting criteria where you now needed to get a certain threshold, and they only put 3 guys in. I'm worried about our guy Jari. That was probably his year to get in, and now you have a class that introduces all these first ballot guys. Like, if they're not putting in 5 every year, then some of these guys who've been waiting might be in real trouble. But I think this will be a 5-member class.
Starting with Jari. Like, I think Jari should get in. I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's significantly more decorated in definitely better than Logan Mankins, but I think it hurts him that Logan Mankins is on this list too, because he was one of those like faces of the first like Patriots. Like, he a very famous guy during that era. Just someone that was vocal, like a spokesman for that team, and being a spokesman for the NFL's team like Matthew Slater, even though you aren't, like people are going to talk about you like you are, and you get elevated. He's one of those guys that might end up getting elevated a little bit. So that's someone that I think it gets a little bit messier for him.
Well,
I would put Jari in, though.
Speaking of which, I have Jari just off my list, and I have him with a slash mark next to Willie Anderson, who's a left tackle for the Bengals, and I think they're going to hurt each other a little bit, as neither one being the obvious offensive line candidate. I have them both like kind of tied for 7th on my list of guys this year, but I bet they both get in eventually, because there's not going to be a lot of years where there's 3 or 4 new guys who are immediately leapfrogging the field.
I stand correct. Mankins actually got there a year after. He got there at the end, but he was still like that whole stretch, like like he was a guy like in playing in that market at that time. Like they talk about Julian Edelman, like no way Julian Edelman's a Hall of Famer, but like he gets that level of conversation. All right,
you have Jari in your 5 this year.
I mean,
I'll just eventually.
I think let's just say they're both in and talk about the rest of the list.
All right, I'm putting Jason Witten in. It's funny. I know. I think I don't know if I'm telling tales about you out of school, but when you texted, you left him off. I don't know if you've changed since you revisited.
Yeah, I got him, man. I got him.
But he does not scream, "Oh yeah, Jason Witten, Hall of Famer." But 4th in NFL history in catches, 11 Pro Bowls, 2 AP1s, 2 AP2s. Like he doesn't strike. Like I don't remember him being that dominant, but that's like sort of undeniable. Like 11 years of being considered one of the best at your profession, 4 APs, and 4th all time in catches. Like hats off to him. I don't remember him that way, but that's kind of undeniable.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't be my first one in on this list.
I agree.
He'd probably be my last one in out of my group of guys. I think my list probably starts with Marshawn Lynch, just an extremely dominant player for a stretch of time for a team that defined football. And that's kind of my criteria for, like, if I'm voting for the Hall of Fame, if I got to sit in a room and someone's got to convince me, like, the guy's probably not a Hall of Famer. I'll hear your case on, like, offensive linemen, defensive tackles. Like, those are guys that if you're away from it, you just might not realize how good somebody's center was. Like at some point, someone's going to have to tell stories about Eric McCoy. And like, that's probably how you find out, especially if that team's not winning a ton of games. Marshawn is it's an obvious, like, he's a face of football, man.
He didn't even make the list of 15 semifinalists last year.
Well, I think people are screwing up.
People, I agree. I think weirdly enough, when numbers are involved, like running backs, I think these voters lose their, like, I don't think Frank Gore will get in this year, but Frank Gore will eventually get in because he's 3rd all time in rushing. Those compilers, like, I'm not as sold on Jerome Bettis and Curtis Martin. I'm with you that I would take like Marshawn a guy Lynch who made that impact.
Yes.
I was pro Terrell Davis making it over some of these guys. Although you could say the fact that Frank Gore played for 16 years is his Hall of Fame case, because that's amazing at that position. But I'll give you a name, 3rd on my list. I went Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, and another one that I'm like, I don't need to see any stats. You just say this guy's name and he's the best of all time. Adam Vinatieri. I cannot believe he did not get in last year. Like, he's the kicker of all time. Like, not only does he lead like all the points and all the compiler statistics, he made the snow kick, he made the Super Bowl winning kicks, he went to the other team and he got them in the Super Bowl. Like Vinatieri's a no-brainer to me. I don't even have to think about it.
Going on for me, my next guy that I would put in, just again, no brainer. He would be in for me. I don't know how he didn't get in the first time. Like Earl Thomas, to me, like the whole entire league tries to play Seattle 3 defense. Like, it's the whole trend of the whole entire league. Nobody runs it as well as them because they didn't have Earl. Like Earl was the guy that made that whole entire thing happen. He was so good in the back end that he allowed Cam Chancellor to play down in the box. They made superstars out of freaking Brandon Browner. Like, it's to me, it's a no-brainer. I don't get how, like, it's like, oh, Earl Thomas, like, that's a guy that defined an era of football alongside Marshawn Lynch. To me, both of them are in.
My 5th guy on my list for this first year, I'm not disagreeing with any of these picks as eventual picks, but if you 5 is the maximum of the year, I went Brees, Fitzgerald, Witten, Vinatieri. And this one's probably a little more controversial, but again, I don't need you to do it for 16 years. I don't need you to just have all these years on your resume. Luke Kuechly played 8 years, and he was AP 1st or 2nd in like his last 7 years in a row. He was the defensive rookie of the year. Then he was AP first or second every other year. He was a defensive player of the year. He made the Pro Bowl every single year. Like, it was only 8 years. Do you really need him to play 5 more years and just like add some more stats onto that to be like, okay, now we can put him in? If you're the best in the league for 8 years, that's enough for me.
My other guy, like, it's tough because the numbers aren't there, and I don't know how you convince people that wouldn't understand, but like you couldn't run up the middle on the Patriots because Vince Wilfork was there. Vince Wilfork stood there and allowed Tully Bantacane to get 10 sacks rushing through the gaps he opened up. Like it's just one of them things where you just really got to know you had to watch like to see it, but it was like the most dominant force on the field. Like, put him in. If
it's sort of like the Vinatieri case, like if you're just the best at what you do. I mean, how many times do we say the Saints are switching to a 3-4? They need a Vince Wilfork type. Like he's the guy you say for that position. Like, so I don't disagree with that. The guy I actually had 6th on my list that I had just missed in the cut was Terrell Suggs. I don't automatically think of Terrell Suggs as like undeniable, but we've been talking about Cam Jordan's case so long. Every guy that's gotten to 125 sacks for the most part has gotten in. He got to 139. He was a defensive player of the year. He went to 7 Pro Bowls. I kind of don't know why he hasn't gotten in. That one's a little surprising to me. I don't mind it because I don't ever remember like, oh, Terrell Suggs is on the other team. We have to write a feature story about him. But he got to 139 sacks and was a defensive player of the year. The 2 guys we haven't talked about, Eli and Phillip Rivers, I don't think they can get in a Drew Brees here, but are they eventually in or eventually out for you?
I'd say probably out for me. Like just like I could see a case for Eli. He won 2 Super Bowls. But I would say out for me, just like in a standard of that era of football. Like I just know what they were at that time. Somebody else that I think probably deserves to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, and I'd probably put him in before a couple of the people we talked about. Luke Kuechly. I think that's a guy
you said Kuechly. That's what I was saying for the 8-year career.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, Kuechly should definitely be in there. I think Steve Smith should be one too.
He's probably my top receiver. Receivers keep having this trouble because there were so many guys that were their case was so similar. Did Reggie Wayne finally get in?
No, he's not in.
So
no.
Steve Smith, Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne, Hines Ward, like there's so many of these guys whose like career numbers are the same that they just refuse to ever break the tie.
Kuechly didn't get in last year, and
no,
isn't that crazy? And they only put 3 guys in.
Kuechly and Vinatieri were right there.
I can understand like the whole kicker thing. Like,
sure,
it's very.
Then Jari Evans was right there.
Yeah, like I just don't.
Why are they holding these? And Terrell Suggs, like why? And Willie Anderson, why did they make these guys? They didn't put Eli in last year. Like,
why didn't they put Steve Smith in last year? Or Reggie Wayne.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know why they only put.
I'm with you. Like Vinatieri should absolutely. Like he's a key figure of the team that defined the NFL. Like put him in, like when we're talking about, hey, what happened? Like, how did this all, well, this guy, Adam Vinatieri, like he's in the story. It makes no sense to me. Kuechly, like that's insane. I don't understand. I don't know. I don't want to get like on a whole rant. I don't like how they do the voting where it's like everybody gets in a room and let's make a case and try to convince them. I think it should be like, I like baseball system. Like we're going to send out 300 ballots to all these people. You covered the league for 10 years. You get the vote. There's not groupthink then. Like it's kind of really like there's groupthink and everything, but at least like that process feels a little bit more like wide swath, not making mistakes, not, oh, like this guy's the most influential person in the room and he's going to rally up, whip up his votes like he's on the freaking House of Republic, whatever it is, House of Representatives. I just think it's a bad system. Oh, I'm going to vote for you and you vote for my guy. Like, I just think it's a bad system.
It's crazy still that only 3 got in last year. Rivers is interesting to me because in his era, he wasn't Manning, Brady, Breeze, or Rodgers. So he was never the guy. But I feel like if he wasn't in that era, like I think we're looking at quarterback now and we're always like, who's the, okay, you got Josh Allen, Lamar, Mahomes, Burrow, who's fit, Stafford. I feel like Rivers could have been a top 3 guy like now, but he was just stuck behind guys who were better than him because he was playing at the same time as maybe like 4 of the best 6 quarterbacks of all time. So, but the fact that he never got to the Super Bowl, I don't know. I don't know if he'll be a for sure thing. Roethlisberger's going to be up soon. Matt Ryan's going to be up soon. Like, I don't know.
He had his window to kind of like those Chargers teams were stacked and they were there and they just never could win. Yeah. And like if they had just won a little bit more in the playoffs, like he's probably in that conversation. Yeah. Alongside a Breeze level type, like, but you gotta win. You gotta win at some point. And he just never really figured it out. It's crazy that he's probably, Eli probably gets in before him, which is, I don't know. Like, I think Phillips probably a better player.
It's crazy they were traded for each other.
Yeah. I mean, like, for creating content, I'll take Eli first, but like as a quarterback, like Rivers is definitely, would have been a guy.
If you redrafted every quarterback who ever played, like Rivers is probably a top 16 pick, top 16? 20.
He might
be
top 20. Phillip Rivers?
Every quarterback who ever played?
I don't think so.
He could be. We'll have to go through that list one day. I mean, it depends where you put Otto Graham and Johnny Unitas and Roger Staubach and
16 is like a high.
Is that too high
number? Like
26.
Brady, Manning, Joe Montana, Dan Marino, John Elway, Rodgers, Favre, Breeze, Steve Young, Jim Kelly, Kurt Warner, probably Troy Aikman.
I think you got into Rivers territory with some of those guys.
Mahomes, Lamar.
Yeah. I overshot.
20's probably fair. 20's probably around 20. Probably around guy 20.
Probably take him over Matt Ryan and Eli. Roethlisberger.
Guy 20, you might start getting there.
All right. Warren Moon, I'd put high.
I take Burrow before him right now. I mean, injuries are obviously
I take Randall Cunningham top 10. You know me, but what if he got coached right? Randall Cunningham. Michael Vick, would you take Michael Vick high?
Over him? No.
Over Rivers?
I mean, we know how the career played out. Yeah. Like, you only get a couple of years. And, like, Vick was probably before his time, too. Yeah, like, just as far as, like, being utilized the right way.
Tarkenton. Fouts was good, man.
All right, moving on. Oh, that's a break. We'll be back with the Get Gordon question of the day. Big news from the home team. Introducing our newest sponsor, the Mortgage Brothers. With over 30 years of combined experience, the Mortgage Brothers are the quarterbacks of home lending, calling the right plays to get you across the goal line. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned vet, they'll coach you through every down and make sure you feel like part of the team. They're backed by Cross Country Mortgage, the #1 retail lender in the nation, so there's no loan playbook they can't run. FHA, VA, conventional, RD, and more. They're lifelong season ticket holders, local guys who know the field and your market. And their online application takes less than 10 minutes. Why fumble your mortgage with some online lender who's never even watched your team play? Stick with the Mortgage Brothers, the trusted pros who play to win. Mention NOF and get $500 back in lender credit toward your closing costs. That's money back in your pocket when it counts. Visit mortgagebros.money and start shopping with confidence. Because with Mortgage Brothers, it's always no flags, no fumbles, just smooth closings every single time.
Score big with kickoff combos at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company. Don't pass on your choice of our seafood combos or our slider specials. Served with a side of garlic herb fries. Run in now for specials starting at $9.99 at New Orleans Hamburger and Seafood Company.
I got hurt in a car wreck. Why should I get Gordon?
Because when you're hurt, you need money. And I fight for the people of Southeast Louisiana every day. I got a client who injured their neck in a car wreck, $250,000. Another client was hit by a big truck and needed back surgery. I got them $700,000, and they deserved every single penny.
That's what I'm talking about. Why wouldn't I get Gordon?
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, just call me, New Orleans. Get it done.
Call 504-800-8888.
You ever take a bite of something and immediately think, yeah, I'm coming back for this? Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant just added some new dishes, and man, they crushed it. The shrimp and crawfish pistolets, golden and stuffed with bold Cajun flavor. Fried oyster tacos, crispy, fresh with the perfect kick. And the soft shell crab Alfredo, creamy, rich, and absolutely worth the order. They're open 7 days a week, and they deliver late. Bobby Hebert's Cajun Cannon Restaurant. Delicious food, superior service. Whether you are a local New Orleanian or a fan in town for the game, get your pre- and post-game fired up at Aaron Rose. Local chaos and local love for the black and gold. Wake up and live with daily drink specials, mimosas, screwdrivers, Bloody Marys, and hot or frozen Irish coffees, all just $3 or $4 between 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Aaron Rose, half a block from Bourbon Street in the French Quarter, 811 Conti Street. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com. Welcome back to NewOrleans.Football. It is now time for the Get Gordon question of the day, presented by Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you need help, you get in an accident, whatever, make sure you get Gordon. Question today comes from Cajun Contenders. He says, with the number of interceptions last week, do you expect a more conservative game plan this week?
Game plan, I don't know. More conservative choices made by Spencer Rattler. I mean, he talked yesterday about how he thought he got too high and you're not supposed to get too high and too low, and he maybe got too aggressive. I also think being down 20-0 makes you a little like more risk. What's the opposite of risk averse? Willing to take risks. So I don't expect as many balls up for grabs. But I think the shot plays will still be in there if things go well. But I don't expect to see that again. I mean, I think Spencer Rattler probably feels like if he does that again, he loses his job.
But I think that's the point right there. I think he probably doesn't put himself in situations where he can be taken advantage of by the defense in that way. Yeah, like I don't think you see on first down him trying to lead a scramble drill again. Like that's probably a third or fourth down play. So I don't think he's going to try to push it like that. I don't think he's going to try to outduel the other quarterback. I don't think any of that stuff's going to happen again. I think if they're down by 21, he's just going to make the sound decisions. I like you said, I doubt we see him try to play hero ball in this game. At the same time, though, like he has to find the balance. I think you still have to push in the right places to push, but I think, there's probably going to be a little bit of a like, all right, I don't need to do this. Let me figure this out on first down a different way, and not try to be the hero in one play on first down. So less conservative, more conservative. I don't know that there's a recalibration by Kellen Moore necessarily. I think that, the scramble drills outside of the structure of the play. The last pick just kind of happens like that. That's really a pass that's supposed to go to the flat. Alvin gets knocked on his ass coming out of the route. They can't throw the ball there. He tries to throw it over the middle, doesn't see the linebackers lurking on the other side of it. So, I mean, I don't think any of that changes really. But but look, I think as far as game plan, like I think they try to find shots down the field. I think they try to find things. But I think outside of the structure of the play, as you said, I think that's where you see maybe a little bit of the tightening up with things.
I'll tell you one thing they have to do. You can call this conservative or not conservative or whatever you want to, but they better rediscover their run game, because this was kind of the ugliest thing that we didn't talk about since they did so many other ugly things. You take away Rattler's scrambles, 15 runs for 32 yards last week. 15 runs for 32 yards. You're screwing your game plan is screwed. Your quarterback is screwed if you do that again. It's not going to be easier without Eric McCoy and Kendre Miller.
The other most baffling thing with this team right now is the fact that they can't convert a third and long and they can't stop a third and long. So you can't even just be like, hey, look, the whole league's taking them away. Well, no, they aren't. Like it's the wildest thing with the team right now. It's going to do it for today's show. We'll be back with the next one after the game.